गुड इवनिंग टू ऑल आवर गेटवे व्यूअर्स। आप सबको गेटवे गैजेट के एक और शो में आज हम वेलकम करते हुए खुशी महसूस करते हैं। ताहम अफसोस की बात यह है कि इस प्रोग्राम में हम अक्सर खुशी की बातें नहीं करते, इसलिए क्योंकि हमारी कम्युनिटी के साथ, हमारी बरादरी के साथ, बल्कि पाकिस्तान में तमाम अक़लियतों के साथ और यहाँ तक कि गरीब मुसलमानों के साथ भी जो वाक़यात पेश आ रहे हैं, जो उनके मामलात हैं, वो हमें खुशी नहीं बल्कि सोच और सोचने पर मजबूर करते रहते हैं। हकीकत यह है कि आज से 17 साल पहले, अगला महीना अगस्त का है, तो ये बात है अगस्त के महीने 2009 की। पाकिस्तान में एक कस्बा गोजरा पंजाब में कुछ मसीही लोग शाम के वक्त दोपहर की गर्मी से बचने के लिए दरख्तों के नीचे आराम कर रहे थे और पास के मुसलमान बस्ती के लोगों ने उन पर हमला कर दिया। चंद को ज़िंदा जला दिया गया, बाकियों को मारा कूटा गया, उनकी इमलाक जला दी गई। आज तक उनमें से किसी के हवाले से हमें इंसाफ नहीं मिला। यही वो दिन है जब इस प्रोग्राम के बानी और इस प्रोग्राम के रोए रवान जनाब डॉक्टर पीटर जे डेविड ने यह फ़ैसला कर लिया कि द टाइम हैज़ कम फॉर अस टू शो आवर वुंड्स टू रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। अब खामोश रहने का वक्त नहीं है और चाहिए कि हम अपने दुखों को दुनिया के सामने बयान करना शुरू करें। आज इस प्रोग्राम को मुसलसल बड़े तवातर के साथ नशर करते हुए हमारी टीम को 17 साल पूरे हो रहे हैं। आज डॉक्टर साहब अपनी पेशावराना मसरूफियात की वजह से हमारे साथ स्टूडियो में नहीं हैं, ताहम वो इस प्रोग्राम को हर तरह से सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं और ये उनका प्रोग्राम है, हम उनके शुक्रगुजार हैं। आज का प्रोग्राम इसी तरह के एक और वाक़े से जुड़ा हुआ है और ये वाक़या तब पेश आया जब एक नौजवान मसीही जोड़े को शहजाद मसीह, उनकी अहलिया शम्मा मसीह और उनके नामालूद बच्चे को ईंटों के भट्टे में जला दिया गया। इससे पहले कि हम इस प्रोग्राम में इस अंधोनाक वाक़े का ज़िक्र करें और इस पर कुछ गुफ्तगू करें, मैं अपने ऑडियंस को बताना चाहता हूं कि आज मेरे साथ स्टूडियो में मोहतरमा मिस फ़रियाल वाइज़ मौजूद हैं। फ़रियाल वाइज़ एक अखबार यानी क्रिश्चियन न्यूज़ अलर्ट की स्टाफ रिपोर्टर है और गुज़श्ता 2 सालों से इसको वो चला रही हैं और इसी हवाले से उन्होंने इस स्टोरी को भी बार बार कवर किया है और इसके हवाले से एक वीडियो भी तैयार की है जिसके बारे में हम उनसे पूछेंगे। मिस फ़रियाल वाइज़,
थैंक यू,
वेलकम टू द स्टूडियो। आई बिलीव दिस इज़ योर फर्स्ट टाइम in the Gateway Gazette show. Welcome to the studio and we hope to learn a lot from you regarding this particular incident. तो चले शुरू करते हैं हम।
Just before we start, I would like to say thank you very much for having me on the show and to Dr. David as well. Thank you. Yes.
You're welcome. मैंने जिक्र किया अभी थोड़ी देर पहले शहजाद मसीह, शम्मा मसीह और उनके नामालूद बच्चे का, जिनको आग के ईंटें पकाने वाला भट्टा जो होता है उसमें धकेल कर तो जला दिया गया। आप इस ट्रेजिडी के बारे में शायद एक वीडियो तैयार कर चुकी हैं और उसके बारे में पहले आप उस वीडियो का नाम और वो कहाँ पे देखी जा सकती है वो बताइए।
So the video can be watched on NGD Media and it is named the unforgettable tragedy of Shama and Shehzad, Shama Bibi and Shehzad Masih. The incident occurred on the 4th of November in 2014 in Kot Radha Kishan, which is near Kasur, the Punjab province. So, Dr. Saab, I will begin with sort of starting where the issue stems from.
जी.
It stemmed from the fact that Shama had been accused of blasphemy, of burning pages of the Quran. This is when she was, excuse me, sorry. Sorry about that, viewers. So the case...
Maybe go back a little bit. Yes.
Yes, so we're talking about Kot Radha Kishan.
Yes.
This incident occurred in Kot Radha Kishan, which is in the Punjab province. It was, I believe, early morning sort of, and Shama was seen burning pages which she claimed were the pages of her late father-in-law. And someone, a Muslim, had seen her burning those pages and decided to sort of spread the news that she had burned the pages of the Quran, which, by the way, is false. And
yes, so let's stop here and discuss a little bit of the incident. So it was about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And this lady is burning some rubbish from her home.
Yes.
Just because there were pages and something was written on it.
Yes.
Somebody went along and they said she is burning Quran. Very critical questions. Why would a Christian woman in a village where most Christians are living as slaves to these brick kiln lords, why would she go and buy a Quran, or where will she get the copy of the Quran Majid to then burn it? It does not make sense. And as we go through this story, I want you to remember this sentence. It does not make sense.
No.
Why was she accused of burning the Quran? It does not make sense. Frayal, you have just told us that she was burning the rubbish from her home, and these were some of the old papers. In villages, people keep hold of papers as documents because they can't read them. So any electricity bill, any letter, any thing from the government, any cutting from a newspaper that is there, it would be kept. They do not dare throw it away because they are afraid that it might be something important. And this lady was just getting rid of some of those documents and burning. Please tell us what happened afterwards.
So as this news spread, they were people that gathered. It was a mob of people that gathered. There were there was a mosque where they did this loudspeaker. They have this tendency to do all these. If somebody is charged with blasphemy, or even if it's an accusation, usually the mosques get involved, and with their loudspeakers, they often say, "Catch the blasphemer," which is what happened. And hundreds of people gathered to attack the couple, and of course Shama being pregnant, 4 months pregnant at the time. They did try to hide. However, there's, when there is a big mob involved, there is only so much you can do. So they did manage to hide, but the mob broke in, and they basically first they beat them with sticks, stones, whatever they could get their hands on. They beat this couple, they tortured them, and then they eventually put them into the furnace.
The video clippings that were made on that day, the total footage amounted to hundreds of hours, because there were many people there with mobile phones, and a lot of that footage went viral. However, it is very difficult to find that footage now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is your comment on that? Because I remember this is incident that took place 4th November 2014.
That's correct.
And until about 3-4 months, you could watch these videos anywhere. Absolutely. YouTube had it, Facebook had it, Instagram had it, all that. But now if you try to look for them, they they don't exist. They have been taken off for whatever reason. But despite that, we are told that the police was called and police actually did come there.
Yes, they did.
Tell us something about their role in it.
So the police arrived and they saw what was going on, and they decided to do absolutely nothing. They ignored it. They were a part of it. They saw what was going on. They saw the couple being dragged into the furnace. They saw what was coming, but they refused to intervene. Now, I don't know why they would do that. Is it because they're too scared of the large mob, or is it just because they were Christians and, you know, their life is not really worthy of it?
Yes, I think both of those things could be possibly an explanation, or at least partially both of them could be correct. Number one, they were Christians, and maybe they, in the eyes of the police, which are usually almost always Muslims, they were not worth defending, fighting for, number one. Number two, if the mob is so large and they are so charged emotionally, and they are next to a brick kiln, so there would be a lot of bricks
Yes.
to be thrown around.
Oh God.
And then there are furnaces in which so it was not the best of places to have an argument with the mob.
No.
And so that could be another reason why they were not able to save this couple and their unborn baby. It is confirmed that she was pregnant 4 to 6 months. The other thing I want to ask you, Friyal, is they were young people. Shahzad was 26 years old, Shama was 24 years old, and they had some children before, I think. Tell us about them.
So they did have 3 young children, and till today they have not received any justice, and they are all alone. They haven't been given any kind of compensation. They haven't been, there's been no one charged. So I can't even imagine what the children must be going through, knowing that their parents were murdered. Their mother, who was pregnant, was, murdered with that unborn child, and they don't get any justification for that. Nobody has been arrested, or even if they did, they were later released. So I'm not too sure where the justice is for the children.
Yes, okay, we will talk about the justice side of it in a while. Let us continue discussing the events, the raw events that took place on 4th November. It was a Thursday.
Yes.
And it was 2014. Now, we are going back quite a while. In fact, I've thought of calculating how long we have waited for this historical injustice which we are going to be talking about. But these events that we are discussing today in this Gateway Gazette show, today they seem far away for people who are not concerned. For somebody like me and my team, it seems like it was yesterday. As of today, it's 11 years and 8 months. We have waited for the justice. As of today, it is 139 months and 5 days. We have waited for justice. As of today, it is 583 weeks and 5 days. We have waited for justice. All in all, 4,265 days we have waited for justice. I have actually gone and calculated the hours, the minutes and the seconds. This was a very big news, a bad news, nevertheless a very heavy and a very big news. Back to the events now. So this couple was dragged from their home on the allegation that Shamma had burned the pages of Quran Majid. On the allegation, there was a loudspeaker announcement calling the faithful, the Mu'mineen, to come and serve brutal justice to this infidel who had done such a heinous act. That was the allegation. No such crime had been committed. No such crime was investigated. No such crime was proven. But what the world saw that day, that free, innocent people, father 26 years old, mother 24 years old, and an unborn child was pushed into the blast furnaces of the brick kilns and incinerated, burned to death. Live people thrown in fire to be burned to death. I also read, tell me, Friyal, I've read that one of the children was actually witness to this.
Yes.
So the three little children they had, one of them was there at the scene when the parents were being tossed into the fire. I think it is just a miracle that he was not tossed along
Yes.
with it, because otherwise it would be very easy for them to say, and here goes the child of the infidels as well. But somehow that did not. What happened afterward? What was the immediate aftermath? So this happened at about between 10 o'clock and 3 o'clock, that time of window. What happened after 3 p.m. or after the bodies were incinerated?
Well, from what I remember, when the bodies had been burnt, there were actually remains that were found, sort of teeth and the bones. That's what people pulled out. I'm guessing their relatives or family friends. Once they opened the furnace, they saw the teeth scattered and the bones.
So maybe that is what was used for the burial rites then.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So
Yes.
for the funeral rites, the burial rites in Pakistan, both in Muslim community and in Christian community, usually the burial is on the same day or very latest the
Yes.
next day.
Yes.
So I would suppose that this is what would have happened with Shahzad, Shamma and their unborn baby. What did the police say? Did they have a narrative? Did they have a story?
The police, obviously, to begin with, they believed what the mob was saying. I suppose that's why they didn't want to step in, because they didn't believe Shama and Shahzad. So I think if we're talking about the police, I don't think they sort of did any of their responsibilities. उन्होंने कुछ ऐसा नहीं किया, that makes it seem like they were trying to intervene or they were trying to help the situation calm down. I think they were just there for the sake of it, for the entertainment of it. It seemed that way.
I mean, that's a very heavy word to use, entertainment. But if they were not doing anything, maybe that's not a bad word to use, because the job of the police is there to protect the citizens. And if they found themselves overwhelmed, then in any law-abiding society, there are layers that you can call upon. You can always call upon more police force. You can call
Absolutely.
upon police forces from the other areas. And if it is something where people are burning people in the broad daylight, then we have been able to call rangers to stop flood waters and
Absolutely.
Earthquake
Absolutely.
aid and all. Why can't you call somebody in to make sure that the writ of the government is established and the law and order is actually brought to, and then these people should understand that when they are doing something like this to innocent citizens, they are actually challenging the law and order situation of the government. But none of those things happened. I think you have looked into these events very closely, but you did not find, and at the end of the day it seemed like everybody was sad or everybody was extremely happy for accomplished something very morally great.
Yes.
From the Muslim side.
Yes.
Christians were all scared.
Yes.
And the day ended, sunset, the next day funeral. What do you think happened to the people that were arrested later that day or early next day for this? Because I do understand that the police did try to do something.
Yes. So with the Pakistani police, I have noticed that the crime occurs first and then the police reacts. Usually it's supposed to be, the other way around, but with Pakistani people, they seem to react first and then find out why they were reacting. So, yes, could you, repeat the question that you...
Yes, what did the police do to the people that were then... So first of all, the allegation was on Shama for having burned the pages of the Quran.
Yes.
Which he didn't. The mob was called using the loudspeakers of the mosque.
Yes.
Thousands of people came. They dragged this couple out of their home.
Yes.
They were hiding there, and then they beat them with stones and sticks, took them to the blast furnace, and where the bricks were, and they threw. Police at that stage did not do much.
No.
What did they do later on?
Later on, they did arrest a few people.
They did arrest.
They did, yes. But it didn't go anywhere because those people were later released, and as far as I'm concerned, in July 2026,
yes,
the remaining people who were, I think there was about 4 or 5 remaining people left, and that they were also acquitted of any charges. So it kind of seems like that happened, but they're trying to erase it by erasing the videos of it online, by erasing all the evidence, by letting go of the culprits who did all this. So yes, that's what I think.
The picture behind Frial's image is that of Shahzad and Shama, and even though they have tried to take the videos off, they have tried to erase the memory of it. Events like this, they cannot be erased from the history. Shahzad and Shama will always be remembered. They will always be a symbol of the depth to which certain societies certain members of the Muslim society in Pakistan can go. It always reminds of the blatant ignorance and hatred these people have about Christians and Christianity. What Frial was referring to was the fact that on that day and the next day, within 24 hours or so, nearly 200 people were caught, they were booked by the police, who were involved in this incident. They were involved because they could all be identified from the video footages. They were involved because they were all there, and the police actually witnessed this whole event taking place. But then the usual historical set of events starts to repeat itself. Of all these 200 people that were caught, many of them were released by the police themselves. Then there were few that were later on released at the police station by the higher officers. Many others were released by the lower courts. Until at the end there were about I think 150 that were left, and a lot of them were released by the High Court of Pakistan, Lahore High Court, and then only 5 were left to be actually considered involved in the actual killing of this couple. Of those 5, 2 were released by Lahore High Court, which left free. Christian community was hoping that some justice would be done by these 5 people who were finally identified as actively involved in tossing this couple into the fire, dragging them out of their home, tossing them into fire. Anyway, they were the culprits, 5. Free, 2 of them were acquitted by the High Court, and then there were 3. And we held on to that little faith, little hope that maybe those 3 will be then given the capital punishment or life imprisonment. But Frial, that didn't happen, did it? What did happen on the 9th of July 2026 shook the world. What happened?
So, the Supreme Court verdict, it was a three-member bench headed by Justice Malik Shehzad Ahmed Khan. He overturned the death sentences of the final three convicts, Irfan Shakur, Mehdi Khan and Riaz Kambo.
So, we waited for 11 years and 8 months. We waited for 4,265 days only to be told by the Supreme Court of Pakistan that yes, 2 adults and an unborn child was burned alive, and the world watched those videos. They stayed on the social media channels for many weeks, hundreds of hours of footage altogether. We were told that yes, people were burnt alive. BBC reported a Christian couple in Pakistan are beaten to death and burned by a crowd after being accused of desecrating a Quran. Police says. Al Jazeera reported Shahzad and Shama Masih accused of desecrating the Muslim holy book, then beaten and burned to death by Punjab village. Radio Free Europe Radio also reported similar story. Pakistan's largest and most established English newspaper, which is read internationally, Dawn, reported they have burned Mummy and Papa. What happened to the children of Shamma and Shahzad Masih, couple who was lynched over blasphemy accusation, left behind 3 young children, one of whom witnessed the horror. This is the plight of minorities in Pakistan. This is the plight of Christians in Pakistan. And we started this show, Gateway Gazette show, not because we wanted to bring news from Pakistan, the good news, the progressive news. There are a lot of channels that are doing that, Pakistani channels, medias, but nobody was speaking for minorities in Pakistan. That is what Gateway Gazette show is all about. Shahzad, Shama and their unborn baby were killed. They died instantly, 4th November 2014. We think of them today and we wonder what sort of country we are building, what sort of society we are trying to create in Pakistan by allowing such murderers to be set free by the highest court of the land. Essentially what they are saying is, yes, murders were committed, but there are no murderers. कत्ल तो हुए हैं, 3 कत्ल हुए हैं, लेकिन कातिल कोई नहीं है. What did I say in the beginning of the program? It does not make sense.
No.
This does not make sense. That you take a woman, illiterate, accuse her of burning the Quran, and then burn her alive with her husband, with her unborn baby. It does not make sense. Then there are police present. They cannot stop the crime. It doesn't make sense. The people who committed this crime were caught and they were brought through the justice channels of Pakistan. Not a single one of them has been held responsible. It does not make sense. Life in Pakistan for minorities of Pakistan does not make sense. So, in times like this, we the Christians, we return back to the solid rock of our faith, to the Bible and try to make sense of some of these events that to us humans just do not make sense. Freyal, I would like us to go through certain passages of Bible, and let's try to look at some of the things that the Bible says.
Sure.
There is a story in the Bible, and that is found in the book of Daniel, chapter 3. And this is the story of three people that were thrown in the fire, but they did not die. That is the miracle, of course. And I want Faryal to kindly help me read this story, and then we will discuss it a little bit. And this is in book of Daniel, chapter 3. Daniel is part of the scripture. It's in the Old Testament. Chapter 3 of this book is the story of three Jewish young men who refused to bow down to the image that King Nebuchadnezzar had made to be worshipped. And he did not, and he expected everybody to worship them. But then there were three who did not bow down to worship that image. So, Faryal, if you read chapter 3, verse 17 onwards.
If it be so, our God, whom we serve, is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O King. But if not, be it known unto thee, O King, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden age which thou hast set up.
Yes, keep reading.
Oh yeah. The Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his the visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it won't be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace.
So this story in the Bible, it relates an event that took place about 600 years before Jesus Christ. 600 BC. Daniel was in bondage. He was in the land of Babylonia. And here we read that Daniel is not part of this story, but these are his three friends. And just like we were talking about these three people, Shahzad, Shamma, and their unborn baby, they were thrown in the fiery furnace and they were burnt alive. But in this particular story, when King Nebuchadnezzar is upset with the worshippers or the followers of true God, he binds them and throws them into the fiery furnace. Now, of course, certain things have happened in the Bible and they are there for a reason, because they have miracles in them. And the miracle that took place in this particular case of Daniel's chapter 3, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, was that they threw 3 people in the fire, but when the king saw, he saw how many? He saw 4. And the 4th one was Lord Jesus. It says here in chapter 3, verse 25, and the king looked there and he said, and the 4th one looks like Son of God. And then they were rescued. So the question is, why would God rescue Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego and not let them burn, but He did let Shazad, Shammah and their child burn? These are difficult questions for us to concentrate and to think about. What do you think would be the reason? Why is God allowing these things to happen these days? Just give me your thoughts, and then there is no right or wrong answer about these,
I don't think this has anything to do with God. I think this is just evil people. I don't think that because we have free will from God, we are able to do anything with it. It's up to us how we choose to use that. And if we want to be an evil person or evil people, then we have the will to do that as well. But that obviously doesn't mean that you should go out and do evil. But I don't think that God has anything to do with this. But this is personally my opinion.
No, that's very fine. That's a very, very good answer, and that's a very contemplative thought, that often we people in this world, we set in motion a chain of events, and whatever ends up being bad, then we turn back and say, why did God do this? Why did God allow this? Why did this happen? But I think, Freyal, you have hit the nail on the head. It's human free will that is responsible for a lot of pain and suffering, for a lot of injustices that are being done in this world, and it has nothing to do with God. Getting back to Shammah and Shazad, the people who caught them, they did not have to throw them into the fire.
Absolutely
right?
not.
They did not.
No.
What would have been the logical thing to do? Let's say they caught them. What would have been the logical thing to do?
I mean, if it was up to me and I thought that this has happened, I would call the police and take them to court and let the law decide what is right and what isn't. But for people to take the law into their own hands in the name of religion, I think it's quite disgusting.
Yes, I think that was the first foolishness or the first stupidity, whatever you want to call it, to not even look at the papers that were being burned. Would that not be the first thing to do?
Absolutely.
Let's go and see what papers were being burned.
Yes.
Where were these papers kept from? Why was she doing it? And why would a Christian lady who is uneducated, works in a bonded labor on a brick kiln, where would she get the copy of Quran Majid? Where would she get it?
Absolutely.
And then why would she have the courage of burning it in a village? Villages in Pakistan are very open.
Yes.
You can see one house, other house. People, they even bake bread together.
Absolutely.
Chapatis and also you can't hide anything. So that is the very first thing. So the first injustice, I think, was done not by God but by the people who thought they were doing something for God, something for their religion, to uphold the holiness or the pride of their religion, and so that would have been the first place. They did something wrong. What would have been the next thing? When this news, let me help. When this news went to the mosque, what should have happened there?
I think the mosque should have certainly restrained from doing an announcement, because they also didn't know what was happening. They heard it from, it's like an, A to A. I hear it from you, I'll pass it on, like Chinese whisper, and
Yes.
Instead of then them being the sensible ones, being the leaders and the clerics and all, instead of being sensible, they do, they use the mosque speakers to say, catch the blasphemers, kill the blasphemers, the infidels.
Yes.
Instead of...
Mosque should be the place where sense should reign.
Absolutely.
where common sense should be at least the starting point.
Absolutely.
And then there should be a lot more to it because it's mosque.
Absolutely.
It's a place of religion. It's where worship takes place. And you've talked about Chinese whispers.
Yes.
I think Pakistani whispers are much worse because
Yes.
these whispers then become loudspeaker announcements.
Absolutely.
It probably started as a whisper, you heard that Christian woman there is burning something, and it goes, and then it's a loudspeaker. And once it hits loudspeaker, then it was loudspeaker that brought down Gojra.
Yes.
It was loudspeaker, mosque's loudspeaker that brought down Jadawala.
Yes.
It was mosque's loudspeaker that brought down
Nazir Masih.
Nazir Masih case in Sargodha. It was loudspeaker that brought down Badami Bagh in
Yes.
Lahore. It was loud. So this loudspeaker, it seems like that becomes the place where the fire is started from. And then at that time when you hear the word blasphemer on loudspeaker in Pakistan, it's like what they say, red rag to a bull.
Yes.
That sort of situation. So firstly, we see that the person who noticed Shamma burning these pages of whatever documents they were, old electricity bills, children's school papers or whatever it was, he did not stop to think. He did not stop to find out what really was happening, number one. And then the news goes to the mosque, and the cleric there, without checking anything, he calls the mob. Mob comes. What did the mob do? I mean, what could have been the next step there?
Of course, like the Islamic leaders, people look up to them, Muslim people, and when they say something like that, something so huge, then of course they will believe it, and instead of the mob sort of using common sense and going again to law enforcement or taking it up in another way, taking it to court, they went crazy. And I'm sorry, I have to use this word because they did go crazy.
Yeah, they did go crazy. I don't know there is any other word I could think of at the moment. They were just mad with anger and fury and frustration. Yes. And they just went crazy.
They went crazy. That's in simple words. They just went crazy, and they only had one thing in mind, that they want to murder this couple. They didn't think of their child. They didn't unborn child. They didn't think of their 3 young children, and they didn't think of any of the other consequences, because there usually aren't any consequences in Pakistan. So I think they feel like it's quite okay for them to do that, because of course they're a majority and they stand together in that.
Yes, there is a slogan that is often shouted on in Pakistan on occasions like this, and that slogan was actually introduced and maybe popularized by TLP, Tehreek-e-Labbaik Pakistan.
Yes.
Gustakh-e Rasool ki ek saza, sar tan se juda, sar tan se juda. Now this is not found in any religious text. This is also not found in any legal text of Pakistan. It's not found anywhere, but it is word of mouth, and it is it rhymes very well.
Yes.
And this is a problem with Pakistan.
Yes.
If something sounds good, then it must be good. If something sounds beautiful, then just follow it. And even on this case, I think Frayal, you must have seen a lot of the videos of this, and you would have picked up that this was being shouted. Gustakh-e Rasool ki ek saza, sar tan se juda, sar tan se juda. Please explain to our English listeners, what is sar tan se juda?
Sever the head from the body.
Yes.
Sar tan se juda. This translates into English as sever the head from the body. Now, where is the justice in that?
Yeah.
How is the other person supposed to defend themselves? Christians and minorities, it seems like they're not allowed to defend themselves.
Yeah. Also, the slogan does not tell who is going to be deciding this punishment.
Yes.
It says the Gustakh-e Rasool ki ek hi saza, sar tan se juda. Anybody who blasphemes against the Prophet, sever his head
Sever his head
from the body. But who decides whether the blasphemy has taken place or not. Who decides who is going to inflict or execute this justice? Who is going to give the punishment? It's just very vague. It is back to the days of lawlessness.
Absolutely.
And that was what we saw on that day, 4th November 2014. At least in the Bible story, we know who was making the decision here.
Yes.
It was the king. In those days, the king was the highest executive and the judicial body or the person who could do that. And in this story of Daniel, chapter 3, the full chapter is just that one story where the king wants them to do something, and the Hebrews, the Jewish young people, they say, no, we are not going to bow down to anything other than our God, Jehovah God. And he says, okay, if you are not going to bow down, I'll give you one more chance. And he gives the chance. They still don't bow down, and they throw them into the fiery furnace, and then the miracle takes place. And he is shocked to see that those 3 were thrown into the furnace. There were 4. He takes the 3 out, and then gives them honors, make them important people in his kingdom. Now, this story I'm referring to today again and again is because the fact that people who have worshipped God have previously also been thrown into fire. Shammah and Shazad was a sad story, it was a sad case, but in the history of Christianity, this has happened many, many times. And if anybody thinks they can wipe out Christianity or Christians by doing such heinous crimes against them, then I think they are mistaken. Faryal, what do you think would be the state of mind of the 3 children that survive the parents?
From all the reports, recent reports, I have seen that the children are, of course, till today they are struggling, they are suffering. Their mental health, mental well-being has obviously been majorly impacted. So, I mean, what could a child feel if their parents have been murdered, in cold blood, along with their, sibling?
Have you heard anything or have you read anything about any special action that any government department or any social society or a organization is doing, just looking after them or providing them psychiatric care or providing them social? Have you found anything?
I haven't seen anything in Pakistan specifically that's helping the children. Like I said before, I don't believe they received any compensation or...
I think there were promises of compensation.
Yes, there were. As always.
As always, there were promises of compensation, and also there were promises of justice.
Yes.
To be done to these people who committed this
yes.
Heinous crime. And also when the Christian leaders came and the Muslim mullahs came and all that, there were pictures and all that sort of thing. But we are so used to that I don't think that they make any more impact, at least not on me. How about you? When you see Muslim leaders and Christian leaders with crosses staying and saying we are going to be bringing these people to justice, how much do you really believe in them?
To be very honest, I don't believe in it at all, because I think it's just words to sort of look positive to the world and create this impression that they are truly going to do something about it, but nothing ever happens.
Yeah, well, I was hoping against hope. I was hoping that at least in this case, in Shammah Shahzad case, because it was such a high profile case, America, Europe, Australia, the whole world, they saw this. We live in age of social media, and so all these things are shared thousands of times over within few hours, sometimes within few minutes.
Absolutely.
And so this case was actually one that really made headlines around the world. And I was also hoping that by this time, Supreme Court of Pakistan, by at least holding people responsible for this murder, would show to the world that we are a serious court of laws. We believe in justice. But the fact that they have let even these final three go off the hook, thereby declaring, yes, a triple murder was committed, but there are no murderers, I think they have made travesty of justice. This is a mockery of human rights, because there is no other way. In as much as I love and respect the judicial system of Pakistan and all its institutions, this just does not make sense.
Yes.
It does not make sense. And if it does not make sense to me, and I am a Pakistani who's got very soft corner for Pakistan in my heart, what do you think it is? How do you think people who are not from Pakistan, how would they take it?
Yes.
Like human rights organizations, Amnesty International, World Watch, United Nations human rights panels and all that. I think we have not done any favor to us.
No.
Have we?
No.
Frayal, this has been a very depressing topic.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think it's going to become a depressive topic every time we are going to be talking, we'll be talking about it. And we will continue talking about it.
Yes.
If there are those out there who think that we are going to forget, we are not going to forget. We are not going to forget Shantinagar. We are not going to forget Gojra. We are not going to forget Yuhunnabad. We are not going to forget any of these things. We are not going to forget Nazir Masih of Sargoda. We are not going to forget Shahzad and Shama of Court Radha Kishan, 4th November 2014. We are always going to remember them. We are always also going to be praying for our people and for the country of Pakistan. Frayal, would you please like to read another Bible text for me? And that would be Matthew.
Of course.
Yes. If you please read Matthew chapter 22, 37 to 40, and then we will be closing our show with that. Matthew 22, verses 37 to 40. Please tell them it's Matthew chapter 20.
Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. This is the first and great commandment, and the second is like unto it, Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets.
खुदावंद यसु मसीह के अल्फाज इंजील मुक़द्दस मत्ती रसूल की इंजील 22वां बाब और उसकी 37वीं से 40वीं आयत तक। यहाँ पर लिखा है खुदावंद उसने कहा, ये खुदावंद यसु मसीह के अल्फाज हैं, यानी खुदावंद यसु मसीह ने कहा, खुदावंद अपने खुदा से अपने सारे दिल और अपनी सारी जान और अपनी सारी अकल से मोहब्बत रख। बड़ा और पहला हुक्म यही है, और दूसरा इसी की मानंद है कि तू अपने पड़ोसी से अपने बराबर मोहब्बत रख। इन्हीं दो हुक्मों पर तौरेत और अंबिया के सहीफ़ों का मदार है। दिस इज द एसेंस of Torah and the scriptures of the prophets. This is the real law of God. Love God with all your heart, soul and mind, and love your neighbor. Love the other person as you love yourself. This is the true religion. Everything else is nothing but a commentary on this very important principle that Jesus gave us. Let us pray for Pakistan and for all the countries around it. खुदा कदूस, हम तेरे नहायत शुक्रगुजार हैं ज़िंदगी के लिए, ज़िंदगी की तमाम नेमतों के लिए। खुदावंद इस छोटे से वक्त में जो हमने तेरे कदमों में गुजारा, तेरे लोगों के दुखों का ज़िक्र करते हुए, पाक कलाम से तेरी बातों से हदायत हासिल करते हुए, खुदावंद इस पर बरकत डाल, हमारे गुनाह माफ़ फरमाओ। और खुदावंद बख्श दे कि पाकिस्तान में और इसके इर्द गिर्द तमाम ममालिक में जहाँ कहीं भी तेरे लोग पाए जाते हैं, तो सबको नेकी और एक दूसरे के साथ भलाई करने की तौफीक और हिम्मत दे। खुदावंद हम तेरा शुक्र अदा करते हैं ज़िंदगी के लिए और इसकी तमाम नेमतों के लिए। हमें अपने करीब रहने की तौफीक अता फरमा। मांगता हूँ सब कुछ खुदावंद यीशु मसीह के प्यारे जलाली और अबदी नाम से, आमीन।